back. It is time to rock some more bowl previews. We are looking at Friday's bowl slate. And I'll be honest, today's not going well. We've got Bowling Greens down right now. We missed the first two games. We expected Eli Holstein to play for Pitt. That didn't happen. Rutgers was just a flat out miss. But we move on. And so we're going to start. We got 5 bowl games on Friday, and we're going to start with the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. We've got Oklahoma and Navy. Oklahoma was solid on defense, sitting 31st in the nation in opponent points per game. They're also 19th in opponent yards. They're 11th against the run, 63rd against the pass, and R. Mason Thomas has said he'll be playing in this game. He had 9 sacks in the year, also had a pass breakup, a forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries, and a touchdown. Navy, 38th in the nation in points per game, 75th in yards per game. They are not a pass-heavy offense, but Horvath has completed 73 of 127 passes for 1,261 yards and 13 touchdowns. Still, Blake Horvath has run for 1,099 yards and 15 touchdowns this year. Oklahoma's favored in this game, but it's missing a bunch of production on the offense. It was an offense that was already struggling. They'll be without their top wide receiver, their top running back, and their quarterback. Meanwhile, Navy did have to play a game since Oklahoma's finished their season playing Army. They won that game. They are near full strength on both sides of the ball. At full strength, Oklahoma's the better team, but with how much is missing, I expect this to be a close game as Navy keeps them on the ground. Navy, plus 3.5, minus 115 on FanDuel. We move to the Birmingham Bowl. We got Georgia Tech and Vanderbilt. Georgia Tech, 70th in the nation in points per game. They're 41st in the nation in yards per game. 60th in the pass, 30th in the run. This is all about Haynes King. Haynes King leads the way for the Georgia Tech offense. He's completed 171 of 236 passes for 1,910 yards and 11 touchdowns. He's been intercepted just once while being sacked just 3 times. Kings run for 578 yards and 11 touchdowns this year. Vanderbilt, 85th in the nation in points per game, 118th yards per game, but they have Diego Pavia. He's completed 164 of 277 passes for 2,133 yards, 17 touchdowns, thrown just 4 interceptions. Pavia, he's been sacked 17 times, but he's run for 716 yards and 6 touchdowns. Georgia Tech's missing a lot due to the transfer portal. Eric Singleton, the receiver, he's gone. They're also missing left tackle Corey Robinson. They're also missing 2 defensive starters. Vanderbilt is missing tackle Gunnar Hansen, but the rest of the squad is pretty much together. This is going to be a tight game between 2 teams based on the quarterback's ability to run the ball. Vanderbilt does have the better defense. They have the better turnover margin this year. Take Vanderbilt money line plus 125 on MGM. Moving to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, we have Texas Tech and Arkansas. Texas Tech, 5th in the nation in points per game, 7th in yards per game, 63rd in the run, 10th in the pass. The passing game has been the primary form of offense, but Bear Morton's out for this game. Taj Brooks is going to have to carry the load. He ran for 1,505 yards and 17 touchdowns. At the same time, Arkansas is 74th in the nation in opponent points per game. They're 75th in opponent yards per game. They're 34th against the run, 110th against the pass. Jaden Johnson's going to have to step up in this one. He was 6th on the team in tackles while having a sack, 5 pass breakups, and an interception. Arkansas entered the game as favorites, but this is now moved to Texas Tech being favored. Arkansas is the better team, but they are missing too much. They'll be down to just 6 scholarship offensive linemen in this game. There are 5 starters and 1 backup have a scholarship. They have a new center, a new right guard. They're also missing most of their skill players. Isaac Tesalala is the most experienced, 360 snaps this year at the wide receiver position. I know I butchered that name, but there is not a lot going on for the Arkansas offense. Texas Tech will be breaking in a new quarterback, but they have many other stud players. That includes Taj Brooks. Take Texas Tech money line, minus 115 MGM. Move to Syracuse and Washington State. We have the DirecTV Holiday Bowl. Syracuse, 32nd in the nation in points per game. They're 10th in yards per game. Yes, they're 126 in the run, but they're second in the pass. Good old Kia Kyle from Ohio State has been great this year. Kyle McCord threw for 4,326 yards, 29 touchdowns this year. He did throw 12 picks, but he also ran in 3 touchdowns. Washington State, they were 21st in the nation in points per game. They're 31st in yards per game, 56 in the run, 34th in the pass. Yes, John Mateer, Wayshawn Parker, Chris Hutton, all out for this game. A lot of pressure is going to be on Kyle Williams. He had 60 receptions for 1,026 yards, 13 touchdowns in this past season. Syracuse opened at -6. Then Jake Dickert, the head coach of Washington State, moved on. He took the Wake Forest job, and a bunch of players and coaches are all gone. Washington State's missing 4 starters on offense, 6 on defense, plus their punter. This is building up to a ton of points being scored on them. Still, the Syracuse defense is dreadful. Best play on this one, take the over 59.5, -110 on MGM. And finally, we got the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl with USC and Texas A&M. USC, 44th in the nation in opponent points per game, 62nd in opponent yards per game, 47th against the run, 77th against the pass. They have Easton Marskanius Arnold. He leads the team in tackles, has 3 sacks and 2 interceptions. Meanwhile, Texas A&M, 51st in the nation in points per game, 53rd in yards per game, 27th in the run, 93rd in the pass. Le'Veon Moss has been solid this year, 765 yards running, 10 touchdowns. USC, missing a ton in this game. They're missing 5 offensive starters plus a top running back. He was the backup, but he's still a great running back. They're also missing their now backup quarterback. The Trojans have struggled this year, and people keep leaving this Lincoln Riley program. This program's going off the tracks here, and they need to figure themselves out. In the meanwhile, they're going to lose to Texas A&M. Texas A&M, -3.5, -107 on ProfitX. Let's recap. We got Navy, +3.5. Vanderbilt money line, Texas Tech money line, the over 59.5 at Syracuse, Washington State, and Texas A&M, -3.5. If you like this content, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, share it with your friends. We're going to see you tomorrow with our Saturday picks.